So, for some reason, Pressure has decided to release a new quote-unquote secret mode to the game. No announcements, no mentions, it just randomly appeared in the game out of nowhere. And little did anyone know that this mode would soon become the hardest, most annoying Pressure mode to ever exist. Now, there's technically no modes in Pressure. Pressure only has one mode, which is the normal mode, where you open doors, avoid monsters, get the crystal, blah blah blah, you already know how it works. But other than that, there really aren't any modes that alternate the game. Well, excluding Endless Mode, but that is a whole different expedition, so it doesn't count. This, however, is the first post-game release instance where you're actually able to modify the game in any way, making this the very first mode in Pressure. Now, why is that important, you may ask? Well, it's not, but I just thought it was pretty cool. Now let's get into the mode itself and why it is so unbelievably hard. The mode in question is called Plush Mode. You trigger this mode by opening this code breacher door in the starting room, press this big red button, grab this scary looking plushie, and boom, the lights go out and you must now make it to the end of the game, not the end of the ridge, the end of the game, while holding this plushie. And if you stop holding this plushie for too long, you get deleted from existence. So what makes this mode hard? All you gotta do is just keep holding the plushie and that's it, right? Right? For starters, the lights break when you grab the plushie, so you'll physically have to listen for the flicker sound. The floor is covered with landmines. Entities can now rebound, and they can kill you from much farther now. Infestation is outraged by default, and it can see you through walls. The searchlights go invisible in both the first and final grand encounters. Pandemonium's minigame is much longer and much harder, and worst of all, the schoolhouse encounters are brought back. Yes, the schoolhouse encounters from the first April Fool's update. Brought back specifically for this mode. Blitz moves at the speed of sound, wall dwellers make no noise, you get kicked out of the locker much faster, and it's just... This whole mode is literally just a challenge that I would come up with when I'm bored. I don't know what prompted the developers to just release this without elaborating any further. Seriously guys, why? But one thing's for certain, and it's that this mode is unfair. I mean, look, it even says it right there in the badge description. So, how do you beat this? It's clearly meant to be unfair, so what is the strategy here? Well, I'll let you in on a little secret. There is no strategy. It's all luck. Kind of. The best way I would describe this mode is if the difficulty of Hell Mode and the RNG of Lockerless had a baby. It incorporates your knowledge of the game and tests your patience with the RNG of Pressure. Because, well, it's Pressure. Everything is RNG. Combined with a new mechanic where you have to keep holding a specific item or otherwise you die, and it's pretty clear that this mode is absolutely miserable. So if you think that you're not capable of suffering on a mode where you get comboed to death by every single monster in the game, I'd suggest you stay very far away from it because, well, obviously it's not for you. But if you think that you have both the knowledge, the skill, and the patience for this challenge, and you, for some reason, want to put yourself through the pain, here's everything you need to know before you start. From a certified plush expert man. Now, before you even go in the submarine, you need to make sure that you have money. A lot of it. And that is obviously due to the fact that you need to buy a code breacher to even start the challenge. And also due to the fact that you're gonna have to restart a lot. Once you open the door and pick up the plushie, you're ready to start. Now, there's a crucial part about the plushie that I haven't mentioned yet. And it's that if you stop holding the plushie, over time, it starts going through 3 stages of anger. The first stage where it needs attention, the second stage where it wants attention, and the third stage where it demands attention. And if you still don't have the plushie equipped by then, you will get atomized. And yes, this goes for every instance where you don't have the plushie equipped. You can also pet the plushie to add an additional stage, but that's only reserved for like the worst possible situations. So yeah, that's basically all you need to know about the plushie. Always have it in hand and just always have it in hand. Now let's get into the mode itself. I'd recommend turning up your brightness because light sources are almost entirely useless because, you know, this thing. And please make sure to enable death mode. It'll make your life a whole lot easier. The first thing you're probably gonna encounter are the landmines, but not just any ordinary landmines, because in this mode there are 4 types. The first one is the normal one, which we're all familiar with, dealing 50 damage. The purple one, which is poisonous, dealing 50 damage over time, though you can cure the effect with any healing item. The green one, which deals no damage but keeps you ragdolled for longer. And the blue one, which deals 20 damage and freezes you for 4 seconds. There's not much to say stay here, just walk around them, and if they're in a really dangerous spot, like a locker or any hiding area, you can always disarm them. And if you want to be extra safe, you can walk on the green pipes or any non-solid floor because landmines do not spawn on those. The entities in this mode are pretty much the exact same, obviously excluding the fact that they can rebound and have a bigger hitbox, but other than that, there's nothing different. Though a pretty useful strategy that I found is as soon as the lights flicker, you're gonna want to hide in the nearest locker to the next door. This is so you don't have to risk staying in the locker for too long and in turn upsetting the plushie. You could also optionally hide in the room before the current one and then quickly getting out and getting back in, but again, that's reserved for the worst case scenario, and yeah, that's basically it for the entities. Blitz and A6 are the ones you should specifically watch out for since they come out almost immediately after the lights flicker. But other than that, there isn't much else to say. Flooded room types are also pretty annoying since it's almost impossible to hear the lights flickering underwater. But once again, Death Mode can help you a lot with that. The other main threat in this mode is Infestation. It's automatically outraged and it can see you through walls. In order to counteract that, I highly recommend turning your in-game sensitivity all the way up right before you enter an Infestation room. Also, listen for water noises right before you open a door. Water noises almost always guarantee that the next room has a window where Infestation can spawn. And if you get a room with 2 Infestations, just keep looking down as much as possible. If it's a gauntlet, however, this is where you might have some issues. Because not only are you gonna have to deal with the Infestation, but there's also gonna be a turret in the middle of the room. So the best way to deal with the gauntlet is to stay under the turret, but make sure you're not too close to the window because that would count as hiding. And from there, it's just a regular gauntlet. What I like to do is slowly keep moving my mouse up, and when I run out of space on my table, I really quickly look down and do the exact same until the gauntlet door opens. This works in both ways though, so just do whatever is easier. Also, there's like 2 other gauntlet types, which are the trenches and underwater gauntlets, but those are basically the same. In the trenches, you can just hop over the railing behind the turret and do the exact same thing, and for the underwater gauntlet, you also just do the exact same thing. There's no turret in the underwater gauntlet, so if anything, it's probably the easiest gauntlet. You can also skip gauntlets by waiting for a monster to rebound and then opening the next door. And if you're lucky, the next room could be a gauntlet, which would entirely skip it. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, there's also new turret variants in this mode. The normal, the poisonous, the explosive, the fire, and the dance turret, which is actually a new turret variant that deals 10 damage and makes you dance in place. So kind of like the blue landmine, but instead of a landmine, it's a turret. Oh man, the grand encounters in this mode are a major roadblock for a lot of people, and for good reason. Because why can the searchlights go invisible? Why do generators have minigames now? Why are the schoolhouses in this mode? It's why? The first grand encounter you'll get is either the first searchlights encounter or the first schoolhouse encounter. Let's start off with the hardest out of those two, which are the searchlights. So like I said, the searchlights can go invisible, which is just great. It's just awesome. And generators now have a minigame where there's 2 moving parts, 1 green and 1 red. You need to hit the green part 5 times and avoid the red part. Hitting the red part deals 30 damage and resets your progress on the generator. And remember, during this process, your plushie gets unequipped, meaning that you have to go out of the generator and give the plushie some more attention before continuing. Oh yeah, and instead of having to do 5 generators, you have to do 15, so that's just wonderful. The searchlights are obviously the main issue here since, you know, how are you supposed to see them? They go invisible. And it doesn't help that the entire room is dark, so how? Well, first we gotta understand how the searchlights work. This right here is a map of the searchlight's movement path. After the cutscene finishes, the searchlights move towards the cycle start position. And from there, they follow one of 3 paths, 0, 8, and DNA. And once they return to the cycle start position, their path changes, and from there, it's pretty self-explanatory. Since the searchlights are invisible for a majority of the encounter, you're gonna have to rely on your hearing a lot to know where they are. The best way to know if they're close to you or not is if you hear this sound. As for hiding spots, you can hide pretty much almost everywhere. Under shelves, conveyor belts, lockers, forklifts, metal crates. Although the searchlights can destroy those if they see you go into one. And yeah, you get the point. There's hiding spots pretty much everywhere. So make sure you're always next to a hiding spot when you do a generator. And that's basically it for the searchlights. It is extremely straightforward once you know how everything works. So make sure that you're above 60 health because the searchlights can one-shot you if you're not. Now onto the other possible grand encounter you can get, which is the schoolhouse. If you're a pressure OG, you already know how to beat this. But if you're a stupid new player, like me. Here's how this encounter works. Whenever you get this room with the heavy containment door, that's how you know you've made it to the first schoolhouse. As soon as you enter, you'll be tasked to collect 7 notebooks while the main threat in the schoolhouse, the educator, slowly chases after you. Oh yeah, and he's able to no-clip through walls, which is just amazing. Each notebook has 3 math problems that you have to solve. And if you're like me and are absolutely terrible at math, I'd recommend having a calculator nearby just to be safe. Solving all 3 math problems will stun the educator for around 5 seconds and will grant you the notebook. And that's basically it for the grand encounter. Get 7 notebooks, run away from the educator, and escape. Like I said, it is much easier compared to the searchlights. I guess the main strategy for this encounter is to just keep looping the educator until you're far enough away to do notebooks. There's also landmines on the floor, but unless they're in a very critical spot, they're not that bad. So yeah, that's basically it for the first 2 grand encounters. Oh yeah, by the way, you're gonna have to do both of them throughout your run. It's not like the abomination and firewall encounters where you can only get one. Nope, you're gonna have to do both of them. Good luck. So, you've made it to the ridge in plush mode. Congratulations. But guess what? It's not over yet because you need to do 2 more grand encounters after this. But the good news is that you've made it past the hardest part of the entire mode, which is room 100 to room 0. Going forward, everything from here should be very simple if you know what to do. But if you don't, then, I mean, I can help, I guess. The ridge is the exact same as the normal ridge. Only difference is obviously the plushie, the infestation, the rebounds, and basically all of the other elements of plush mode. All in the ridge. As horrible as that sounds, it's actually not that bad. All you have to do is to treat the ridge as if you're in a lockerless attempt. Except you are able to use lockers, but whatever. Open the first door, hide here, wait for the first monster to appear and disappear. Unless it's Pandemonium or Pinky, then you have to wait for another monster to spawn. Then get out of the hiding spot and start rapid firing through the doors. If a monster is coming, you'll have enough time to reach the end of the room and hide in a locker that's right next to the door. Or better yet, you can find a safe spot and you can camp there until you feel like it's safe to come out. Repeat this process and you're out of the ridge. Infestation should be no problem if you actively listen for water noises. And if you do end up getting an infestation, do not enter the room that it's in. Wait for a monster to come and go away and then you can go through the infestation room safely. Another thing that I forgot to mention is that you get kicked out of the locker much faster in the ridge, so please time your locker entrance. And that's literally it for the ridge. It's extremely easy. Once you make it to the end of the ridge, you're led into the second schoolhouse encounter. The second schoolhouse works the exact same way as the first one, except every so often an angler spawns in, which is why there's lockers all over the place. In terms of the schoolhouse itself, it is much bigger and you now have to collect 10 notebooks instead of 7. Also, every time an angler passes by, it permanently breaks the lights around it. And if you take too long in this encounter, the angler might be able to break every single light. And this in turn makes the schoolhouse incredibly dark, so like I said, turn up your brightness. This right here is a map of the second schoolhouse, and as you can see, the anglers can take 3 paths that all end up at the exit. You can also see that every notebook is located inside of a safe room, which is actually very convenient since you can easily just take advantage of that and collect the notebook without having to worry about the angler. Although some rooms do have openings where the anglers can see you, so what I like to do is crouch under the desk and then do the notebook. In terms of actual difficulty, it's just a little harder than the first encounter, but not by much. Like I said, there's hiding spots everywhere. And because of how big the schoolhouse is, the educator takes a while to reach you most of the time. Oh yeah, one thing I forgot to mention is that the educator becomes slightly slower when you're doing a notebook or hiding in a locker. And this applies to both schoolhouse encounters. It's not exactly something that you can utilize, but it does help you a little bit when you're struggling on a math problem. Something you can easily utilize though is stunning him. Yes, by finishing all of the math problems on a notebook, the educator stops moving for about 5 seconds. He also only starts moving after around 10 seconds have passed from when you started the encounter, meaning that you can easily go to the middle at the start of the encounter and you'll have enough time to get all of the notebooks there. And from there, the rest of the notebooks should be easy, as the ones in the middle are the only ones that you have to worry about. Other than that, the second schoolhouse is basically the exact same as the first one, and it's really easy if you know what you're doing. And now for the final searchlights encounter. Easily the most stressful part in the entire mode. As you might have guessed, the searchlights briefly go invisible in this one as well. All of them. Not just one of them, all of them. But other than that, nothing really changes, so it's essentially the exact same thing. Well, except for the plushie and the generator minigames and just Yeah, that's it. Now, there's multiple ways you can beat this encounter. You could do it the normal way by going for whatever generator you can find. You could fix generators that are in very risky spots so you don't have to get them later when there's more searchlights. If you're patient, you could do a strategy where you leave all of the generators on the brink of being completed, and whenever you want to, you can come back and easily finish them. Or if you're a psychopath, you can try to speedrun the encounter and pull off some insanely risky maneuvers. What I personally do is simply just go for the most risky generators first, and then do the easy ones at the end. There's not as many hiding spots as there are in the first encounter, but the map is a lot bigger to make up for it. So yeah, it's really just up to you as to how you want to do this part of the encounter. Just make sure to take your time and do not forget about the plushie. As for the final part of the encounter, just listen to this noise. If you hear that noise, hide. If you don't, get moving. And once you pull the final lever, you are officially done with plush mode. Just get to the submarine, press the button, and congratulations. You have just beaten the hardest mode in Pressure, and you now have one of, if not the rarest badge in the entire game. So, what do you get in return? A suit? Nope. A deep sea bunny skin? Nope. Maybe an exclusive dead drop shop item? Nope. You'll unlock a plush mode modifier for when modifiers get added to the game. Listen, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think any sane person who's beaten plush mode would want to come back and do it all over again, but I don't know, that's just me. So what is the purpose of this mode? It was added out of nowhere and there's no clear explanation as to why. Maybe the developers thought it would be funny, or maybe they wanted to experiment different mechanics, or just, I don't like, why? Why was this added? Please, I need to know. Why did they bring back the schoolhouses? Why did the searchlights go invisible? It doesn't make any sense. Okay, so, apparently plush mode got removed. I'm recording this, like, a few days after, like, my last sentence. So, let me see if it actually got removed, and, if I'm not, like, being trolled or anything. Yup, it's gone. Oh my god. Again, no announcements, nothing. It just got removed. I think the whole reason they added this mode was because they were like bored and they had nothing better to do. Like again, I don't know. It's like a mystery. Oh wait, actually, I think I have a theory. What if they wanted to see how many players in the community are good enough to overcome like hard challenges like plush mode? So they would be ready for when modifiers come out. And it looks like only 811 people beat it before it got removed. So I don't think that's the case, because that's barely anything. Not even 1,000 people beat this, dude. That's insane. Okay, I genuinely think that this badge is like the rarest badge right now. I'm trying to see if there's like any badge that has like less winners than this. There's a badge with 0 winners, but I mean, I think this is a test badge. Most of these have like 1 billion winners. Okay, disabled badges. Okay, so there are rarer badges than the plush mode badge. This one being the rarest, 476 winners. That is just, dude, that is actually insane. Like, almost nobody has this badge. This is a test badge, I know that for a fact. This is also a test badge, and these two are not rare at all. So that makes the plush mode badge, where is it? That makes it the 3rd rarest badge in life. In the world. So yeah, I guess the only logical explanation as to why they added this is to maybe like troll people, or I don't know, maybe they tried to like test something. I don't know, like, why was this added, dude? It's so weird. Also, don't be sad if you weren't able to get this badge, because it doesn't count towards your badge progress. It's a limited time badge, so like it doesn't count towards your 100% or whatever. Oh, yeah, and the way I got this badge is so stupid. So basically I was doing the mode, right? And because I kept dying to god-awful RNG every single time, I just decided to call it a day and go to bed and do attempts like the next day. But then out of nowhere, I got like 1 billion notifications on Discord telling me that plush mode is getting removed in 3 hours. So naturally, I was like, what? And I immediately went back on the game to try to beat it with some other people. But then one of the people I was with said, I know a guy who can help. And then they invited this guy with 1,000 wins on the game to come help us beat it. And lo and behold, he ended up carrying me through plush mode all the way to the end. And here's a clip of me beating it. Nice! Oh my god! Let's go!
GG.
Oh Oh my god! So yeah, massive shout out to the guy that the guy that helped me beat it, Skeptor. And yeah, we ended up beating it like 30 minutes before the mode got removed, I think, if I remember correctly. Oh yeah, by the way, the whole plush mode removal thing was a lie. The person who said that was a developer and they were trolling everyone, and clearly it worked because I had to get someone to carry me over the fear of me not getting the badge in time. So yeah, that was plush mode. It was only in game for 32 days and it was fun while it lasted. Again, don't be sad if you didn't get the badge. It really doesn't matter since it's a limited time badge. So to those who are scared for their 100% badge completion, you're A-okay. Anyways, thank you for watching.